How are we serving in church so much? How are we're paying our tithe, right? We're doing everything we're supposed to be doing, yet we're desperately financially crippled. What is going on? I just could not understand it. I just cried when I saw a moment that's
Mm.
changed. And I saw my dad and my mom work so hard to just, make all ends. By the way, to everyone, we had the perfect job, my husband and I. Perfect roles, perfect job. We're supposed to be making the money. But guess what? We're living paycheck to paycheck. We pretty much had to use credit cards to supplement our life, right? I was going to go ask someone. And I'm so sorry. Everyone is always asking me for money. I cannot help that you. Moment, I cried in the car. I was supposed to go pick my daughter from. I was sitting in their daycare in the parking lot, and I cried so hard. And I started.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for stopping by and listening to this podcast today. I have a wonderful guest here, but before I let you meet her, I want her to answer a question which I think would help you before you swipe away. So, you're welcome here, Dolapo Adedeji. Thank you so much. But I want you to just speak to someone who is thinking of swiping away this podcast right now, but is in a terrible financial situation, probably even crippling in debt. And then the person is very, very pessimistic about their financial future. They are not confident. What can you say to that person right now that will move the person from the point that they are right now to the next point?
That's such a powerful question. Let me just say this. If you're broker than a joke. If you feel like you're in a tight place, if you feel like you are just working paycheck to paycheck, essentially you want to go from being from suffering financially to a place of abundance, you need to listen to this, because I give you a very simple formula that I promise I have used and has gotten me to where I am financially. That framework, we're going to talk about it on this podcast. I promise you, mark my words, today, when you listen to this, it will take you from broke to being abundant. It will take you from poor to being rich. It will take you from a place of being stagnant to a place of wealth. Now, the choice is up to you.
Wow. And I'm really, really excited to have you. So I would like you to just introduce yourself to the community. We want to know you. Who is Dolapo Adedeji? Everybody wants to meet you. Thank you.
First of all, let me just give a shout out to Hadiza. Y'all, this woman right here, respect. I love you so much. I love the community. She and I have like interests. So I want to start by thank you. Thank you for even giving this platform. Thank you for creating this platform and doing what you're called to do. But let me start by introducing myself. My name is Dolapo Adedeji. I'm actually currently I work for a management consulting company, so I do a lot of consulting work. I'm what you would call a managing director, where I lead a lot of our teams to pretty much solve problems for our clients. So I'm just that by nature and by trade, I've just been trained to figure out if there's a problem, how do you get a solution? And I can't tell my story as to how I even got to this point where financial freedom was just not an option anymore. It was the option and only option. Like, I needed financial freedom. I needed to be financially rich and wealthy. And I told myself, how do I do that? And that's part of what I'm hoping I'll be able to spill the tea on this podcast.
Well, thank you so much, Olapo, for joining me. I really appreciate all the compliments you give to me, and I'm humbled. Sincerely, I'm so humbled. Maybe another time I would share a little bit about why I'm so humbled to get a compliment from Dolapo. That's the truth. And we call her Minister Dolapo. That's the truth. I'm really humbled. Thank you so much, ma. So I want us to just jump right in so we can actually maximize the time that we have. Can you share your personal journey with us? Because I know that people that know you, people that don't know you may feel, oh, you're in this affluent position, or maybe, you were born with a silver spoon, maybe life has been, just beautiful for you. And, and that's where I really want to come from right now. And that's the purpose for this series, Building Financial Capacity, so that people can see that people can come from humble beginnings, bad situations, terrible positions, and move from one point to the next point. So I want you to share your personal journey through financial hardship. How was it like for you? What was your turning point that made you realize, I can't continue like this. I need to take action. And how did you overcome that?
Yeah, honestly, I'm so glad you asked me this question. And to be honest with you, I can give you the long story and it will take the whole time. So I'm going to give you just a straight point. That moment that's
Mm,
changed. So for those that may not know me, I migrated with my family in the later 90s, right,
mm,
to the and I saw my dad and my mom work so hard to just, make all ends meet. And for the first couple of years, it was hard for my mom to work. So it was just one income. And I would always watch my dad count, kind of do the budgeting every day, just trying to make sure he's allocating cash in the right way. We even had moments where, getting food on the table was tough, right? So fast forward, I told myself, and I remember when I turned 16, I told myself, I said, I never want my parents to ever suffer like this. I said, whatever I can do to alleviate that, I will. So from the age of 16, even before I turned 16, I started working. I started working at a
mm,
library. Before you knew it, I started working at, one of these, I think they used to call us table host, where I would go
mm.
and, like if you go to a banquet hall, they come out and they serve
Yeah.
you. And
Mm,
that was me. I did that for years, just to put a little bit, just so my mom could get money for gas. I could just have some side money and just to help my groceries.
mm,
So it just got to that point. And ever since then, I've been working. Now, fast forward to the moment that changed my life forever. I just had my second child. This was in 2012. By the way, to everyone, we had the perfect job, my husband and I. Perfect roles, perfect job. We're supposed to be making the money. But guess what? We're living paycheck to paycheck. I use the word paycheck to paycheck to even make it sound good. It was a little less than paycheck to paycheck. Like,
mm.
we pretty much had to use credit cards to supplement our life, right? And it got to a point where, to now make matters worse, we now got this huge bill. Huge, y'all. Imagine getting over $40,000 in tax bill. Just sit with that for a minute. Mind you, you're already trying to meet from one paycheck to another, then you get that. And that's in addition to the fact that we have two car notes on two cars, in addition to the fact that we have school loans, in addition to the fact that we just had our second child. And now I have another additional caretaking expenses. I'm sure you all can feel me. Anyone that is listening to this, I'm sure you can understand how desperate I was. I got to the point where I've never in my life asked anyone for money because I've always been that person that would go out there, hustle, and get my money. I'm just that person. For the first time in my life, I decided, the moment I changed my life, I decided that I was going to go ask someone. And I did. And I remember the person telling me this. I'm so sorry. Everyone is always asking me for money. I cannot help you. You pretty much need to go figure it out yourself. Oof. That moment, I cried in the car. I was supposed to go pick my daughter from, I was sitting in their daycare in the parking lot, and I cried so hard. And I started praying to God. I said, how are we serving in church so much? How are we're paying our tithe, right? We're doing everything we're supposed to be doing, yet we're desperately financially crippled. What is going on? I just could not understand it. I just cried. When I say cried, I was asking God questions. I just did not understand it. All of a sudden, an idea came. First idea was, hey, there was this account that you opened up back in the day when I was in college. Go check it. I think you have money in it. Guess what? I have enough money to pay that because it had been sitting in a savings account since my college.
Mm,
No, it was just accumulating. And that's what I used to pay the bills for that month and the following month, like to help us. So I
yes.
didn't beg anyone just because of a savings account that I forgot about. So we're going to come back to that. Then the second
Mm,
piece was, God just put it in my head that a question came to me, and that question was, what do the rich people do? What are people that are financially well doing that is different? And that's when I went on YouTube. Oh, my life changed after that. Before you knew, I became obsessed with all things financial freedom, financial wealth, financial riches. I started asking God, how can I use it? How can I even finance your kingdom? I just don't want to do this just for me. I want everyone that I come in contact with, whether through my business or even through my one-on-one, to be able to give them gems that are biblical. So a lot of what I've learned, a lot of what the framework I've come up with, I can tie it back to a biblical principle, right? And that I'm putting together godly words, the biblical principle, what I was learning, all the books I was reading. And I'm happy to list some of those examples of those books for those that may want to start reading that just changed my mindset. And that was it. That's where the journey started. And before you knew, it was 10 years ago. Where I am financially now versus where I was, I'm still in shock. Some days I sit down, my husband and I sit down, we're like, wait, what just happened? I just did learned a lot of things. There are things that didn't work, by the way, did not work. And there are
Of
things
course.
that so well. And those are the things that I just have optimized now so that I can continue to make money.
Wow, wow. I love it. I love your story. And that's why I wanted you to go back. I wanted to hit that nail because a lot of times, because I talk to the people a lot because of what I do. And, people give me a lot of excuses, why this can't work, why I can't do this, and then why the other person is already, this one is already established. That's why. And, so many reasons. But I've learned that there's no excuse if you're determined to achieve your goal. Like the excuses will just fall by the wayside once you stay focused. And that's why I'm really humbled by this story. And I pray that somebody who is doubting themselves, who is feeling like, oh, my debts are just too much, just is easy, understand that no, 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 no. This woman you're looking at too was in a place where she was in negative, like completely negative, and actually begged for money. Thank you so much for that. Because of the time, like I just keep mentioning time here, but I just wanted you to talk about some common financial mistakes that people make. And, how can they avoid them? Because there are lots of mistakes. I see them myself, but I don't want to be the one to say them. But I just want you to list out some of these mistakes that you think people are making, and what are some of the things they can do to avoid these mistakes?
Absolutely. So I used to have a financial coaching business that's on pause now because I want to do some bigger and greater things to come. So stay tuned. But I will tell you the mistakes I've seen and the mistakes I've made myself, right? The first one, people don't invest in themselves. They don't invest. And when I say so, I'm not going to sound cliche. I'm going to give you very simple examples and practical examples. When was the last time you read a book on financial freedom or financial management? When was the last time you actually had a coach that talked to you? When was the last time you actually called someone who knew about financial management and asked the right questions? When was the last time you YouTube and just said, okay, let me actually go and see what I need to learn? Or when was the last time you actually searched the Bible and see what it is about financial independence and financial wealth? That are the questions. Those are the questions that you need to ask yourself and then start looking for the answer. Look, the first thing, a curious mind is the one that will get the blessings. Because when you're curious, questions are answers. What does that mean? The moment you ask a question and you go get the answers, that's when you start to change your mindset. Transforming from a place of lack to a place of abundance is right here between your two ears. It's that. So the moment you invest in your mind, you invest in yourself, you start to shift those blueprints, those lies that you've grown up with. For me, it used to be, money does not grow on tree. Yes, it does. I can pluck fruits and sell it and make money. You need to change your mindset. You need to change your mindset. Or all rich people, some of us that grew up, in the Bible, they say the rich person cannot grow, that they can't go to heaven. It will be easier for them to go through a needle, right? The needle eyes than to go to heaven, whatever the case may be. What I'm just saying is that there's certain blueprints and beliefs that we have in here that until you start asking questions, again, going back to being curious, I call them divergent questions. Those are questions away from the path of the mass to the path of abundance, to the path. Because once you get the answers, it starts to shift how you see things. And the Bible says, as a man thinketh, so is he. So the way you think is what creates your reality. How you think, where you are today, it's all about how you think. I'm sorry, it's nobody's fault. No one. No one is coming to save you but the word of God. I tell you, that for me is my foundation. So the first thing I would say, invest in reading, invest in your mindset. That's the first thing. Number two, do not spend more than you earn. I'm sorry. If you don't have it, don't spend it. If you want it, go make yourself so valuable. Again, going back to invest in yourself, go make yourself so valuable that the market would demand from you. They'll pay you a lot for what you have. That by the time you start getting that money, anything you want, you can afford. So that's the thing. Be patient. Play the long game. Be patient and just don't spend more than you earn. It's a simple concept. So do that. So invest in yourself. Don't spend more than you earn. And then number three, you need to just invest in cash flowing, producing asset. What is cash flow? The cash flow is neutral. Just so you know, when you hear the word cash flow, it's neutral. It just means cash that flows in and out, right? But there's something called negative cash flow and positive cash flow. What does that mean? It just means that when the amount that I'm earning is more than my expenses and my bill, that's what you call positive cash flow. Meaning I have more money, enough to be able to do more with, right? But when your expenses and everything, all your bills are more than you are earning, it's called negative cash flow. Everybody has cash flow. It's just a matter of where it's flowing to, right? So you need to be able to invest in cash producing assets. So that would be my third advice on mistakes that people make because people don't invest in that type of assets.
Wow, wow. One thing I was just thinking about listening to you is patience. Patience is very key, especially in building this journey. It takes time. And
Yes.
that's the truth. It takes time. I think a lot of times, maybe due to social media, what people see online, people get anxious, people get irritated, they want to hit it big. And even when you make some of those, little, I saw like a few people I'll speak with and just make some little things you need to take over time. You can just sense that this will take me a long time to to achieve, but it's that journey. It's that journey of increment. It's like an incremental journey. There's something you also said that is so important. I want everybody to take note of: investing in yourself. Investing in yourself such that you're valuable and people will pay for that investment you've made in yourself. As in, it's powerful. It's a secret. I can't remember the person who said it. I think I was watching a particular show, and I think the guy was, I think 16 or so. He was asking the host, this millionaire, I can't remember his name, that, I'm trying so hard. I mean, I've invested in crypto, I've invested in different things, but I just keep losing my money. And then the man said to him, anybody that can remember this particular, it went viral. You can drop it in the comments. And the man said something. He said to him, he said, "You're just 16. When I was 16, I was investing in myself. I was reading books. I was attending conferences, and it shifted my mindset." And that's exactly what you just said. When you invest in yourself, you see things differently. You don't even see things the way people see things. People like, sometimes for me, just talking about myself, I see people do things, say things, and I feel like an alien. So knowledge just can make you a little bit different, but it's because you see things differently. So I just wanted to,
Look,
you wanted to say something. Go ahead.
weird. That I just want your thought. Remember, I said divergent thinking. Divergent just means you're taking a different path from the mass. When you
Yes.
start to appear weird, you start to appear I don't want to use the word weird, but I'll say unique and different, right? And that's what I need everyone to understand. Like for me, there are certain things I don't do anymore. I don't care what you think. Because I have goals. I have
Mm.
clear, and that's the other mistake. People don't even have clear goals. I can assure you, and I'm going to ask this question right now to your viewers. How many of you actually have a number for your retirement? Like written down? How many
True.
of you have a clear number? Say, when I retire, this is the number now. Something as simple as that. A lot of people don't think. People are just putting whatever. They're like, look, God will save me when I get there. And then they wonder why they have to be dependent on their kids or even the community or even the government when they get to that age. Whereas you can plan it now and never have to depend on anyone else. That's what financial independence and financial freedom is. So I say all that just to say, for me, it's such a critical point. I hope that point was made clear.
Wow, wow, thank you so much. That number thing also is very important. Even as probably you're listening to a business owner, you should have a net profit goal. Like, this is what I want my net profit to be. That this is your goal. Even if you're not there, even if you're negative because the business is just starting, it's fine. But you just have that number and you're looking at that number. Thank you for just adding that. I also want you to just touch a little on people who are they're trying to invest, right? And there's a lot of, you are all online, you see all these different hypes about different programs, investments, and people are thinking, but based on your own experience, right? What is one, I would say, the most effective method of building wealth? And and how can you access the risks in this particular method, and what impact has it made for you that will make you recommend it to anybody that is maybe watching us right now?
Yeah, so I've done so many things
Okay.
that have and some that did not work. So that's why I said when I say the system I'm implementing is going to help optimize your
Mm.
wealth. That's because that's what when you test something, right? You see this one worked, this one didn't work, this one worked, this one didn't work. What you do is you double down what works so that it can be more of it and it can compound over, right? So I would say for I would say for me, how I would advise, the way I would approach this is that if you are building wealth and you want to build it fast and you want to make sure that, I won't use the word fast, but meaning you need to be patient, but it will help you in the long run is the best way to approach this. I do index funds. For me, low cost index fund, not just any index fund, low cost. So there are certain ways you can find them. There are three brokers out there that you can use. Vanguard is one, Charles Schwab is another, Fidelity is another. Run with this and just go Google seriously, or even use ChatGPT and say, ChatGPT, give me some of the best index funds that I can invest in, right? And make sure you put the word low cost. Some of them are zero; they don't even charge you any. The reason for that is that if the cost is high, as you are making money, the cost is taken away from your money. Percentage base. So you kind of want the one that is lower in cost, right? So make sure you just invest in a low cost index fund. So that'll be my first. The other one is before you even have money to be putting into that kind of low cost index fund, there's something I call a high yield savings account. Not a regular traditional savings account. High yield savings account. You can go to Google or ChatGPT, type in high yield savings accounts that one are FDIC. FDIC is a federal insurance company, I think it's called, where it actually protects your money up to 250,000. So you want to make sure that you're investing in that type of bank. That is the online banking. It is usually that is protected. So I would say high yield savings account is the other one. Then the third one for me, I tend to invest in. Actually, there are two more, but is dividend paying stocks, right? Or ETF. ETFs as well are good ones. Again, Google it, ChatGPT it, you will get all the details. Trust me, use ChatGPT. ChatGPT will help you. But anyway, last but not least, for those that don't know about this, and some of us know this, if you know game, you know game. That's all I have to say. Insurance, whole life insurance. There's something called in a whole life insurance, because whole life insurance is very expensive, so a lot of people run away from it because they've not actually trained themselves or even understand the product. But there's something called cash surrender value. What that does is that you are building up cash. While you are alive, you can borrow and use it to buy yourself real estate, which will be the last, I think, my fifth point, real estate. So these are the things that I invest in because I want long-term cash. So I do long-term rentals. That's it. Keep it simple. Long-term rentals where I'm getting my paycheck, my tenants are paying me every month. So that would be the fifth one. But those are the five things that's my portfolio. I don't mix it up. This simple. Everything else I've tried. I bought individual stocks. I did penny stocks. Let me tell you, y'all, the amount of money I lost, I can't tell. I hope my husband doesn't see this. Let's just put it this way. You and I can't repeat it. I lost so much money. Crypto. Oh my God. Crypto. The moon because I don't have it right now. Are you kidding me? I said this crypto is not working for me. So yeah, crypto was a no for me. That was it. I'm like, I'm done. To the moon. Everyone will say moon to the moon. Where's the moon? So I say all that just to say that those are the five for me that have worked for me. Again, this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm only telling what works best for me.
Wow, wow, wow. I love it. You know, interestingly, everything you said are actually on point for me also. Like that's what I believe in actually sincerely because I've tried as in I've tried a lot of things to myself, so that's why it's just funny. But it's all of I think even the journey of failing, trying things and they not working, the most important thing is learning and then innovating, improving on whatever happened and then having your own particular plan, just in case anybody's like, I've lost so much money. That's why I don't want to invest again. Yes, I know you've lost so much money, but then what did you learn from it? And that's what Mr. Dolakwa is saying right here. So you can implement now the things that we have seen worked. And like she said, we're not financial advisors, right? But these are just recommendations. Then I also want you to just speak a little bit on how people can approach, financial planning when they have like major events. I believe a lot in planning and strategizing. I remember like when we bought our home, we had to strategize financially to be able to achieve it at the time we actually achieved it. So I know that there's also strategy. Like you want to buy a home, you're starting a family, you have a project, you want to buy a car and you want to pay cash, or you want to pay like, let's say 60-70% of the cash for that particular car, you can plan for it. These are things that I know that works, but I want you to just speak on it.
Yeah, so I'm going to give my framework that just works. It's simple, it's not complicated. The reason I started realizing, even from coaching people, that doing all the detailed, like you have to have a certain type of personality. I mean, I'm
Mm.
not that. You'll be doing budget every month. Some people are like that, and I love it for them. Mine is a simpler way, and you'll be fine. I call it my automated framework. So this is it. If you have a pen, please get a pen, paper, and start writing, because
Mhm.
this is all right. First, there's a positive cash flow. You gotta have positive cash flow. So let me tell you, you cannot start building wealth. In short, even when I used to have financial coaches and they were, coaches, excuse me, people that I'm coaching, when they will come, the first thing we'll do is we'll quickly go through their budget, expenses and income. It's simple. Just put all your expenses. You don't even need a complex Excel. You can even list everything. Go through
Mhm.
your bank, it's everything. Write it down. All your expenses that come out every month, and then and then your income. You will know every month which one
Yes.
is higher. If income is higher, it's called positive cash flow. Then you can
Mm.
continue with this. If income is not, there are two options you have. You need to either reduce your expenses, or my favorite option, which is unlimited, by the way, is go make yourself some money. Make yourself so valuable to the market. The market will demand your product or your service. They will
True.
demand your. So if it means investing in yourself, if it means training, coaching, whatever you need to do what you got to do. Put yourself out there, and I promise you the right people will pay you for what you got. So that's number one, positive cash flow. If you don't have it, you cannot start this journey of wealth. It's that simple. You cannot. So let's say now you did do it, your income is more than your expenses, right? You now have to assign your cash flow. Yes, you gotta assign your cash flow. This is the other issue. People don't assign it. And what does that mean? Meaning you are giving your cash flow jobs to do. They are working on your staff.
Mm.
Going out multiplying and duplicating themselves. Okay? So you gotta assign it. Remember how I mentioned the different things I put my money into? That's assigning. So the first thing I always tell people, start with a high yield savings account. I'm not going to go through everything just because we have 30 minutes in detail, but at a minimum, start with a high yield savings account. Put a goal for that account. Say, I want to have 100,000 in this, or 25,000 in this, or 50,000. That excess cash, positive cash flow, just start pouring it in there. Open a high yield savings account. Start there. Once you do, then you can now come up with your next plan to assigning it to investment products, which brings me to my third point. And again, when I say assignment, it's also assigning to pay off debt, by the way. We can't go into detail, but debt is pretty much a whole in this. If you cash flow, debt pretty much, think of your cash flowing, and debt is a hole that just sucks it out of your flow. Does that make
Mm.
sense? You
Absolutely.
want to plug plug and cover that hole.
Mm.
So when we talk about, if we have time in the future, if we ever have another segment, we can talk about how to get out of debt, because that's a whole session in itself.
Mm.
But you want to make sure that when you are assigning, you are also assigning to debt reduction. Make sense? So that's what the assignment is about. Then the third one is multiplying your cash flow, right? Now you've already, you want to make sure that that cash flow is multiplying and compounding, and you want to make sure it's long term. Makes sense. Then the last one is what I call accelerator. This one is bonus. There are ways you need to inject cash into your life, right? And there's some key things you need to do. For me, I'll give you one example. The first thing I did was I started looking for jobs, because people were like, "Are you always changing your jobs?" They didn't know that there was a reason behind it. One, I wanted a job that'll pay me bonuses. That's extra cash. I wanted a job that will pay, that will employer that will match my 401k. That's extra free cash I'm getting into my 401k. All right. I made sure when I was changing my jobs, I was getting sign-on bonuses. These are just some examples amongst many. So there's something called cash flow accelerators that even take your current, forget
Mm.
the one, you remember I calculated that positive cash flow. Now I'm saying you are injecting more so that your wealth is building up even faster. Those accelerators will take you far. And just repeat. That's it. That's all you need to do. So again, positive cash flow, you need to have that. You need to assign your cash flow. You need to multiply your cash flow. You need to accelerate your cash flow and repeat. You just keep repeating that process over and over. I promise you, mark my words, a year from now, you won't even recognize your account. 10 years from now, you'll be like, hey, this is my account. I'm
Wow.
telling you.
Wow, 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 wow. It's been such a wonderful time just having you break down, and this is the whole lot. Like you were able to just break down something so complex into very simple I would say language, and I really, really appreciate it. One word for someone right now who would like to improve their financial situation. Just one word.
Oh, it's doable.
Mm,
Doable. I'm not saying it because, let me tell you, the moment you know, it becomes easy.
mm,
When things means there's something you don't know. Making money and making wealth, it's easy. As long as you do two things, you learn and you apply it, you take action. That's all. That's all. You want to be financially free? It is easy. You just need to learn. Follow Hadiza. Follow her. Follow her page here. I'm telling you, just apply some of what you're learning and watch magic happen. So I'll just say it's
wow.
doable. I gave you two words instead of extra.
Wow, wow, wow. You heard her. It's doable. It's
Yeah.
doable. It's doable. Yes, yes. Thank you really so much for joining us. Please don't forget to share this, subscribe, drop your comments. Yes, drop your comments and just let us know, what are some of the things you have done? What are some of the mistakes you've made? Lessons we want to hear. Let's just have the conversation in the comment section. I would really love that. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm so grateful. Thank you. Thank you.